When Legend of Zelda NES came out in 1986, the ability to forge one's own path in a way the player wanted was something truly exceptional for the early days of video games. Over time, however, the success of Legend of Zelda would bring future installments and sequels that had more of a linear feel, as each game had a story that grew with the journey. To create a solid story, it must be told in a step-by-step, linear fashion. To create a solid story, that is, which of course became what we all came to understand as the Zelda franchise. This was consistent until 2017 with the release of Zelda Breath of the Wild. While the hardcore Zelda fanbase enjoyed story, lore, and timeline speculation and discussion, Nintendo wanted to use their beloved IP to provide something that can please all fans of open-world action-adventure video games. Thus, the installment Breath of the Wild provided a video game experience that focused way more on exploration and forging your own path as a much bigger priority than the lore and story. Breath of the Wild then became one of the highest well-reviewed and profitable games ever, not only in the Zelda franchise but in overall Nintendo history. And so, a follow-up sequel would be created to continue this train of success. That included high-caliber crafting abilities and multiple layers of exploration and customization to create a grander experience than its predecessor. That game, of course, is the highly anticipated, beloved, and dense adventure that is Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom's anticipation came not only as the next installment in a beloved franchise, but was also fueled due to long-time speculation and patience, especially since Zelda fans would not receive any new original installment in the franchise for over 6 years while waiting for this game. And with us finally being at the place where this game can be experienced, I, myself, and others began to think, where does the future of the franchise go from here? And is this type of patience and anticipation for another future installment something that will happen again and something we need to get used to? While we could receive remakes and other spin-off titles such as Hyrule Warriors, what of new original titles that come in the form of 2D top-down games? Or the linearity of the beloved 3D titles that had heavy natural progressing stories, such as successful titles Zelda Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess. My fellow Zelda fans, has this series evolved into a franchise where the new original installments come out once every 6+ years? Does this have to do with console sales? Well, welcome to another Skylink Shock discussion on the future of the Zelda franchise, and now, let's dive in. While the wait between grand titular experiences of the original version of Skyward Sword and Breath of the Wild was almost 5.5 years, we received a lot of goodies in between those grand 3D experiences. And to be honest, that was one of the best times to become a Zelda fan. Remakes of Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, and Majora's Mask were released in that time frame, along with the solid 2D top-down entry that was critically acclaimed, A Link Between Worlds. That game was so amazing that I felt like it was one of the grander 3D Zelda game experiences, seriously. And for multiplayer fun, Triforce Heroes is a unique Zelda experience that reminds us of the franchise's more silly side, but still providing fun levels that you could play with others. Oh, and we also got Hyrule Warriors as well, the first one, which, if you didn't know, was a celebration and compilation of beloved and crazy characters from across the Zelda series coming together in a unique way with new characters as well. While Breath of the Wild was delayed twice, which is a 2-year delay from its original aim at a 2015 release, we definitely had so much Zelda goodness to enjoy until that final 2017 launch. And most importantly, we received original titles that aren't remakes. Now, transitioning to this less filled wait. The wait us Zelda fans had to endure, from the grand release of Breath of the Wild to the well-anticipated great release of Tears of the Kingdom. That time frame, specifically. For a game that reuses assets, environment, and data, we had a whopping 6-year, 2-month, and 9-day wait. During this time, it was great to receive Hyrule Warriors Remastered and another Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, which focused on the Breath of the Wild story side of things, and of course with a couple of remakes, Skyward Sword and Link's Awakening, but that was about it. And I know that sounds like a lot, but check this out. Unlike the previous goodie-filled wait between the 3D releases, this was a longer wait with less content. The biggest blow, in my opinion, was that we received no new original Zelda title. But I guess Link's Awakening Dungeon Maker was the closest we could get, and maybe if you want to count for an original Zelda story, technically Age of Calamity, but it's kind of not. I don't know, it's an alternate take on things, whatever. But the reason I bring all of this up is because this type of wait, the wait we had to endure from Breath of the Wild to Tears of the Kingdom, 6 years, 2 months, and 9 days, is that something we'll need to get used to. While Tears of the Kingdom is such a bigger and grander experience than Breath of the Wild, it's hard to imagine another Zelda game coming very soon. People are ready for what's next after the Switch, and I don't blame them. I am too. It's interesting to think that a big deal Zelda game could release with this next-gen console, but what's closer? The next epic 3D Zelda game, or the next Switch/Nintendo console? I originally believed that the next console would release with the Breath of the Wild 3 in like 2026 or 2027, but now after seeing and playing Tears of the Kingdom, can another 3D Zelda epic really come before 2029? 6 years after Tears of the Kingdom, that is. Can we see a resurgence of 2D Zelda in the meantime? Or can we receive a smaller 3D Zelda title like a Majora's Mask type of situation? Maybe it could be linear. Please guys, let me know in the comments because I can provide some insight and speculation, but overall I'm stumped on this. Is the future of Zelda a 6-year plus wait with a couple of spin-offs and remakes in between? And can we finally kiss that 3D linear game format goodbye? I always wanted a Majora's Mask sequel to create an Ocarina of Time trilogy and a 3D follow-up to Wind Waker, but I'm starting to think this isn't the direction Nintendo wants to take the franchise anymore, at all. I'm rolling the dice on smaller follow-ups in the form of 2D top-down Zeldas being remakes and one 2D new Zelda title before the next big open-world 3D Zelda, probably coming out in 2030? Dude, what the heck, that's so far away! But then again, it's better to release it with the next console, which should become before 2030, right? Should the Switch 2 or the Switch Pro or Switch 4K or just the next Nintendo console, that's going to be before 2030, right? Right? And if it is, would it be smart to release the next Zelda game with it already? But then again, how would you even, if it took 6 years to make Tears of the Kingdom, now if you're going to make a new game from the ground up, would that take even longer? Who knows? Anyway guys, let's discuss all of this in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for listening, and take care, peace out, and let's hope we don't have to wait 6 years for the next Zelda game. Peace out.